Assalamu alaikum. Today's podcast is with Abdullah and Maleeka, and we're going to be covering the subject of breaking the shackles of divorce in the digital era.
Wa alaikum assalam. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Sadly, divorce is quite common in today's age, especially with the younger Muslims. Why do you think that is?
People in the younger generation don't have the same values as the older generation, and it can be seen as a good thing and a bad thing. So in the older generation, they were taught that if something is broken, you try and fix it. Whereas in the younger generation, people have a very throwaway mentality, I've noticed.
What do you think is a solution to that? Is there a solution, or is it just kind of, is that going to be the new norm now? Is that going to be the accepted way?
Get closer to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you can't go wrong.
I think it is going to become the new norm, though. Statistics will probably show that it's becoming more and more common. Whereas back in the 70s, for example, women were made to feel, or just people in general were made to feel that you had to suffer in silence and just endure pain. I think in this generation, people get over things very quickly and just move on. Yeah.
I heard something a few weeks ago as well, saying that divorce is higher in the Muslim community because actually Muslims get married, but in the counterpart and the non-Muslim community, people have relationships. Is relationship a relationship within marriage and away from marriage, or is it different?
I think in some ways it can be good and it can be bad, because we live in a society where people are quite promiscuous as well, and it's very known. So I've noticed people are getting married a lot younger than they did maybe 20 years ago. Going to college or going to school or just being in a normal environment around the opposite sex wasn't as much as a problem back then as it is now. And also because of social media as well, everything is very available. I think that's another reason why younger people find it a lot easier to get married.
So following on from what Maleeka said, do you think the scholars should intervene and kind of reinterpret for the youngsters in terms of what it is to be married and why it's such an important sunnah?
Obviously, family starts at home. So if you've got parents raising up children, the sunnah will be, told amongst the household. And scholars their role is to tell the families how they can do that. So it would start from the parents, or it would start, if people do go on social media or any other platform that's outside of that traditional way, the family still should be involved, I think. There still should be that involvement there. It's not just kept individualistic and just between two people, So the scholars they are mentioning issues that do affect today in society. You can go on YouTube and find many of them.
I do think it does start with family.
Yeah.
It does start with the family environment that you're in. It kind of shapes who you're going to be as an adult as well. Yeah.
Do you think the scholars are doing enough though? I mean, yes, they're on YouTube, but how are they being relevant to the next generation?
I don't want to name any names, but there are plenty of scholars that go around to different masajid around the country, and with these topics, and you have sisters that are giving speeches for sisters and about marriage.
How do we get the youth interested in marriage and in terms of the values of marriage and the importance of marriage? How do you think we can reach out to those youngsters and valuable gems?
I personally think it's about becoming closer to Allah in the first place, because you're not going to think that marriage is for you unless you believe that. Unless you have respect for Islam, really, because it's so much easier to be in a relationship outside marriage. These youngsters that are sort of going outside and having relationships outside marriage, I think their families maybe aren't as religious either, so they're not getting that kind of support at home as well.
But a lot of people that do get divorced are practicing and follow their faith, so why do you feel that happens then?
If two people don't get along, then and they try, and they see that the best option is to get divorced, even though it's the most thing that's it's the thing that's disliked the most. Then that is an option that is available, but it's not always. Not everything's always going to work out the best.
I also think that sometimes with the more religious couples, I find that the men don't also realise that the woman is made from the rib, and if you try and mould her into what you want too much, it will break. You have to be kind of on the same page in terms of how religious you both are, or what path you both want to go on.
Well, Maleeka, you said earlier about we don't have the patience. I mean, would you say there's a formula there? Is it patience as in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years?
I think it's all dependent on the situation. So, I mean, some people would say be patient through domestic abuse. That's completely different. Or a lot of couples are scared of also getting marriage counselling because they're embarrassed of their private life being spoken to with other people. And I think these are things that really need to be spoken about, and Muslim couples need to feel comfortable with doing things like that and seeking help from other people as well. That's something that should be spoken about by from imams and people with that kind of platform, that it's okay to ask for help, because you'll find that with a lot of people, they're too proud or they're too embarrassed to ask for help from people that know better, people that have seen these situations and seen the outcome of them as well.
So do you think when people are in trouble in their marriage and they go into imams and scholars, they're the best people to go to, because a lot of those individuals, a lot of the imams, they might be out of touch and they might just be kind of like giving you historic advice or kind of like examples, the prophetic traditions and whatnot, which might not be totally relevant or it might not be totally understood within today's times. Is it better to go to a counsellor? Is it better to go to a therapist?
Do you know what? Surprisingly, these imams in masjids and whatnot actually have a lot of experience, because you'd be surprised how many people come to them on a daily basis even. And not just that, there are organisations available which have marriage counselling as well. Which, so, you know, they do, couples will come to them and, you know, talk about their problems, and this is coming from a Sharia point of view as well, so it's not just normal marriage counselling, it's also from an Islamic perspective as well, but you're also getting the counselling side of it as well. So these services are available, you just have to look for them, really. People are becoming more and more aware of it as well, which is very positive, I think.
Well, I also think that with this platform of social media, that you know, instead of focusing on let's get these people married, there's always going to be problems in relationships. No, nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
Everything, you know, comes with its ups and downs. So, you know, like Single Muslim or any other platform that's out there, they could, you know, engage with, you know, the organisations that do deal with counselling and other, you know, imams. You're the founder of SingleMuslim.com, and you're trying to push for people to get married and trying to find the right spouse, but to keep them together. You know, there's nothing really that is like. What are you doing to try to help keep these marriages a success?
Our initial challenge was to create a platform where people would find suitable, like-minded Muslims who not only have the same kind of idea in terms of what they're looking for in this world, but in the akhirah. But what we are finding more and more now is sadly that divorce is kind of, you know, up there. I think close to a third of registered profiles are from divorcees as well. So there is a comprehensive blog section that we're launching on the website, and there'll be some vlogging as well and some advice. But we're not kind of an advice platform, but what we can do is ask people to prepare before they go into the journey of finding somebody suitable. Family involvement, I think people do genuinely need to get their families involved, because that experience of our parents or our grandparents is invaluable when we're searching on our search, because we almost assume that we're this or we're that or we're the other, and we don't look at our own pitfalls, we don't look at our own kind of downsides. But our family knows the good in us, and they know the bad in us, and they know what kind of like what might be challenging us as well. So we have to listen to that advice holistically.
I think that is very important, to involve your families from the beginning. Your family know you better than anybody else as well. So they can tell you, like you said, about your flaws as well, or what to look for in somebody. So Adeem, is there anything that you're doing on the website to keep women safe?
We use AI in terms of, we have algorithms that already show us that these profiles might be suspect, so they don't even get filtered through to being verified. All the profiles on the website are human administered, so every single image, all the profile description is verified by a human being. We have an absolute zero tolerance policy, so anybody that comes on the website and is suspected of something, we will either suspend their profile or we'll remove their profile for good. So we don't want them to be an active participant until we've actually looked into and investigated what's happening. And also in terms of, we've got a telephone line which is unlike most other apps, websites, that allow individuals who have got some concerns to call up and have a discussion with our trained team. Also, there's a report feature on every single profile, so if you feel somebody's not genuine, not who they say they are, you report them, that gets notified to us as well. Because the key focus is really making sure that people are there and people are able to find success, and people are able to match with each other, other people that are like-minded as well. So that kind of brings me to your experiences.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm here speaking to you now as a
Mashallah.
success story, alhamdulillah. I obviously found it useful. It's worked. The thing I liked about Single Muslim, there's a system that it had on there where you could filter out. You can put the filters on, so you know exactly the type of people that you would like to, or the type of person you would like to meet eventually, hopefully. And so it cuts out all the people you wouldn't like to. So like the filter, I can't remember everything.
It's a popular feature,
Yeah,
and
so
also what happens is when people join meet that filter, and you automatically get notified of new members that meet your kind of search criteria almost.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know
Abdullah's
that
filter.
I didn't know he found me through a filter. Is that true?
Yeah, I filtered you down. Yeah,
All right then.
sorry.
He was, I think, one of the first people that messaged me, and the first person that I took seriously. You do get a lot of messages from people that are, you can tell, just go through profile after profile and just speak to different women, and
you can tell that.
yes,
You get, is that a sense that you get, or is that you know that?
Because they give the one-liner. That's the thing. They give a certain line, and you can tell that they send this to.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the first he's hearing of this, but they send it to lots of different women. I was on there for about a
Roughly.
day.
Oh yeah,
A couple of hours actually.
A few hours.
Yeah.
That was a quick filter.
Yeah.
And how long were you searching for?
So after I put that gold membership on, it was about a few days after that.
Okay, mashallah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah.
No, hold on. No. It was the following month. It was the
Okay.
following month, I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
But I found it
Wow.
very useful as well that you can filter down, what your criteria of what you're looking for as well.
But you didn't have to do much work though, because after registering, few hours, and there you go. Abdullah's picked you in the filters, and that's it.
I got some strange messages.
Oh dear.
Yeah, a lot of them I didn't reply to.
That is kind of quite indicative of being an online website and so popular as well, because you don't know. And I always say this: you can vet a profile, but you can't vet the intention.
This is why he stood out to me
All right.
out
Okay.
of everybody, because he was very, very respectful from the very beginning. And I could just sense that I could trust this person as a very honest person. So, alhamdulillah, to this day, I can say that. So,
Alhamdulillah.
yeah. So I think that's what stood out the most
So
from his message out of everybody else's. But I did manage to do a few searches. I really liked the filtration system.
Okay.
The fact that you can even choose what sect of Islam that you're looking for. So Shia, Sunni, prefer not to say. I like that. You can filter what ethnicity you're looking for, what height you're looking for, build as well. I mean, I think that's different from all the the other websites that there are.
So just bringing it back to the topic of divorce, what do you think some of the difficulties are that women face? Because I know you wanted to do the success story for a specific reason.
Yeah, I mean, being a divorcee myself and finding success as well on Single Muslim, I just wanted other women to know that there is a second chance, really. And I find that for women, divorced women, and especially I'd say in the Southeast Asian culture, once you've been divorced, and especially after having a child or even children, you're kind of put on a shelf, and people are sort of, you're made to feel as though nobody will ever marry you after that. And I don't agree with that at all, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very hard for women that are going through that, because you do sort of feel worthless. You do feel very worthless. But alhamdulillah, when you do, I think it's very easy for people in my generation to come out of that bubble, because we have apps like Single Muslim. So we can actively look for a spouse, whereas let's say 20 years ago, when the same kind of oppression was happening, it wasn't possible for people to find a partner without their parents or without family looking for them. And sometimes, family, they don't know you as well, and they can't find a suitable spouse for you either. So alhamdulillah, Single Muslim has really helped me in a way that I really didn't expect. Yeah.